Sam Peake, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
The RAISE Act is back from the dead. It has been revived by Tom Cotton, David Perdue, and some others in the Senate. This is a big change from what you often hear from Republicans in the Senate who say that they really support legal immigration. They support going through the system properly. It's just illegal immigration that they are against. What concerns you most about the RAISE Act and the possibility that it actually might make it through the Senate?
The most concerning aspect for me about this is that the net effect of this is that it'll essentially cut legal immigration in half, completely discounting the narrative.
By half, really?
By half, yes. And it does so by trying to shift towards a merit-based immigration system. And when we shift towards a merit-based immigration system, we're also shifting away from the values that has made America unique from another country, that we're the land of opportunity. And we have found a lot of prosperity in those values because you don't know where opportunity can be in any one person. That is not for the government to decide. That is for people to explore for themselves.
I think there's a lot of truth to that. And when people talk about merit-based immigration, there's a part of me that goes, okay, right, that makes sense. We want to bring people to the country who are going to be entrepreneurs, who they're going to study STEM. They're going to do all these great things for us and basically pay their way in, is the thing being sort of referenced there. But that has never been true of the way that we've done immigration in previous generations that have come and populated this country. And it sort of seems to me that it is just a way to shut the door on the American dream for more people. What does America need from immigrants that we are not getting? Do we need more of a certain kind of immigrant? Do we need people who are skilled in a certain area? I know there's a doctor shortage that we're looking at here just in the next couple of years. What should we be focusing on when it comes to people coming into America?
We should be focusing on a variety of things. We can focus on immediate labor shortages. I definitely think that there is a purpose for that. That is a short-term fix, and we should also look towards the short term. But we also need innovation, and it's letting people in who we don't quite know, what their talents are yet, what they're going to do. We need people with ideas, and that's what makes America unique. So, for example, when we have someone who is a refugee or somebody who came in on a family-based visa,
sure,
you don't know that they don't qualify for merit-based immigration. They may not be educated, but they'll go to school, they'll get a degree, they'll increase their earnings, and they are waiting in the wings, preparing themselves for an economy that changes. There are benefits to hiring an engineer. But that engineer is not going to go and get a new degree and learn new skills for a changing economy. They're kind of going to be set in their ways, whereas this other immigrant who came is investing for the long term for a changing economy. And so we benefit from having these flexible immigrants that are willing to move to areas and develop skills that our changing economy needs.
Sam, how is the immigration debate in this country, and this is really happening around the world right now, gotten so extreme, where we are basically forced to choose between candidates who are, Kamala Harris being one who is sort of referenced to the idea of open borders and more free flow of people, to Donald Trump and building a wall and sort of this move towards cracking down on also legal immigration, refugees, chains, families bringing their family members over. It seems that it has gotten away from us to simply just talk about reasonable security on the border, getting in line. How do we get back to a more reasonable immigration system where the American people are happy and less angsty about the system?
We haven't really seen immigration actually be this high of an issue. There was always some complaints about it, but it was never the central grievance for people.
I think it might have been always a central grievance for voters, but politicians weren't representing it, right? I mean, you sort of have the Republican consensus in Washington has always been in favor of immigration, and it possibly suppressing the actual belief by their voters that it should have been issue number one.
There's possibly something there, but if you look at opinion surveys from previous elections, you do see that voter concern among immigration has gone way up under Trump, and unlike any other presidency. Mm-hmm. So I think of Trump more as a political entrepreneur, where he made immigration an issue and emboldened his brand by that. And I think that partisanship, we like to think red team or blue team, and then red team, the red team has kind of latched on to Trump's view, I think. which has amplified this anti-immigrant sentiment.
One of the things that has gotten to be so tough about the issue of immigration is the politicking around who's going to vote for who when they become American citizens. You've written a bit about Texas and Texas turning blue, and that it is not for the reasons that so many people say. Tell me a little bit about what's going on in Texas and where immigrants sort of lean politically. I know it varies state to state and part of the country, but what was your takeaway there?
Yeah, in Texas, they've been they're more conservative than Latino immigrants in the vast majority of the country. Florida is similar because you have a lot of Cubans that coming in, fleeing the Castro regime. But in Texas, you had political leaders, Republican political leaders. They had inclusive immigration policies. They completely rejected policies that excluded immigrants from schools, made it so that if you were undocumented, that ICE, or back then INS, would report you. Texas Republicans pushed back against those laws, and they accepted these immigrants into their community. And George W. Bush, when he employed this inclusive rhetoric, he got about half the Latino vote.
Yeah.
And he got about half the Latino vote in the presidential election when he ran, and we've seen those decline as the Republican Party has shifted. Latinos, they're very faith-based. Oftentimes, they're Christian. They're socially conservative. There's a lot that the Republican Party can do to serve them.
And yet, Texas is turning purple, and people say that it's going to turn blue at some point. And are you saying that that's because they've been pushed away and not given a home in the Republican Party?
Yeah, the Republican Party at the national level has disrespected the Latino community, and of course they're going to respond. You're going to get people who rise up and oppose that. Texas is known for being an independent state, for exerting the will of Texans. Regardless of how the national parties were. But as politics have become nationalized, Texas politicians are going with President Trump instead of with the people of Texas, and they're shooting themselves in the foot for that.
Sam, I appreciate you sitting down and sharing some of your insights on this issue. It is incredibly complicated and is not going to get any less so anytime soon.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you.